Whoa, this economy continues to just basically drag. And the states are out of money. As a result of that, many state programs are being cut back. Eligibility for various programs is being changed. What does that do if, in fact, you'd made some decisions based upon eligibility under some old law and the law gets changed, it's tightened up? Well, that takes us to this week's case. It involves a woman, elderly woman, up in Alaska. And she was someone who, some time ago, back in the 2000s, gave away some of her money. When I say gave away some of her money, this is really not unusual. A lot of elderly people, as they're looking at end of life, will give away some portions of their assets because they will then be able to see that they go exactly to the people that they want them to go to, as contrast to being reliant upon what takes place in probate or under some trust. So she gave $120,000 to her son. And then time moves forward. And then the Alaska Legislature changed the law with regard to how you can qualify for Medicaid. Now, Medicaid is a program that's designed to help people pay their medical bills if they don't have enough money. Well, the legislature changed the law, and it allowed the Medicaid people who were deciding whether you are eligible or not to look back upon whether or not you previously had money and you gave that money away. And if you gave the money away, they looked at it as if you still had that money, because essentially they were saying, gee whiz, you had that money before, you wouldn't have qualified, you gave the money away, and therefore you don't qualify now. We're dealing with it just as if you had control over that money. Well, this elderly woman applied for Medicaid, and when she applied for Medicaid, she was turned down flat. Said you'd given away $120,000, and she said, well, wait a second, that was before the law changed. If I knew the law was going to change, I wouldn't have given away the $120,000. They said, it doesn't make any difference. It doesn't make any difference because you had the money, you gave it away, and the legislature changed the law saying that we can take into consideration that money you gave away. So she sued, and she wound up with her case going before the Alaska Supreme Court. There, the Alaska Supreme Court finally resolved the case by saying, guess what? The legislature can change the law. And in this instance, what took place was a change certainly happened after you'd given the money away, but before you applied for Medicaid. It isn't like you applied for Medicaid and then they changed the law. In this instance, the law was changed before you applied for Medicaid. Big, important distinction. Because since the law changed before you applied for Medicaid, that is the law that applies. In this instance, granted, you didn't know that the law would change, but the fact is the law did change. And because it changed, you don't qualify. Period. That's it. Well, what's the point of this? The point of this is very simple. That when it comes to estate planning, the law is constantly changing. In this instance, this woman may have thought she would never have to use Medicaid. In this instance, she thought she was going to be in good shape financially, but it turned out she wasn't. She gave away $120,000, and she assumed, though, worst case situations, she could always apply for Medicaid. And under the old law, she could, but under the new law, she could not. The point that you need to take from this case is that when it comes to estate planning and when dealing with assets, you never know quite where the law is going to go, and you have to really have some contingent plans here because the law changes. Better or worse, the law changes, and you can sometimes get caught in the lurch, unfortunately. Well, we bring you this case, kind of sad case, as we bring you all cases so you really know how the law works. I'm David Allen.